Let's all stand. All persons having any business before this honourable court now draw nigh and give your attendance, and you shall be heard. God save the Queen.
Admission of lawyers. Matthew Alexander Basoki.
May it please the court, I move that Matthew Alexander Bozecki be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Matthew Alexander Basoki be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rowan Balani.
May it please the court, I move that Rohan Balani be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Rohan Balani be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Issa Bashara.
May it please the court, I move that Issa Bashara be admitted as a lawyer of the honourable court.
That Issa Bashara be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Leah Ann Bradley.
May it please this court, I move that Leah Ann Bradley be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Leah Ann Bradley be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Daphne Chang.
May it please this court, I move that Daphne Chiang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Daphne Chang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Zi Swen Chu.
May it please this court, I move that T. Shang Zhu be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Si Zhuang Zhu be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Stephen George Christodoulou.
May it please the court, I move that Stephen George Christodoulou be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Stephen George Christodoulou be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Carlos Ignacio Cofre Soto.
May it please the court, I move that Carlos Cofre Soto be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Carlos Ignacio Cofre Soto be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Tara Louise Corcoran.
May it please the court, I move that Tara Louise Corcoran be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Tara Louise Corcoran be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Chantel Dang.
May it please this court, I move that Chantel Dang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Chantel Dang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Michelle Elias.
May it please this court, I move that Michelle Elias be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Michelle Elias be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
James David Eljalk.
May it please the court, I move that James David Eljalk be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That James David Eljalk be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lauren Allison Espino.
May it please the court, I move that Lauren Allison Espino be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Lauren Allison Espino be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Kim Colleen Velhera Iatsid.
May it please the court, I move that Kim Colleen Velhera Iatid be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Kim Colleen Vieira Ayatid be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Christopher Pham.
May it please this court, I move that Christopher Pham be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Christopher Pham be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Martin Francis Floro.
May it please the court, I move that Martin Francis Floro be admitted as a lawyer to this honourable court.
That Martin Francis Floro be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Shannon May Ford.
May it please this court, I move that Shannon May Ford be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Shannon May Ford be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Coco Noel Garner Davis.
May it please the court, I move that Coco Noel Garner Davis be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Coco Noel Garner Davis be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Mark John Geddes.
May it please the court, I move that Mark John Geddes be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Mark John Geddes be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Emma Caitlin Gwyther Glenn.
May it please this court, I move that Emma Caitlin Guy Glenn be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Emma Caitlin Guyther Glynn be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Patrick Wallace Graham.
May it please the court, I move that my son, Patrick Wallace Graham, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Patrick Wallace Graham be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Iman Jamal Adeen.
May it please the court, I move that my cousin Iman Jamal Adeen be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Iman Jamal Adeen be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Dorothy Kamal.
May it please this court, I move that Dorothy Kamal be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Dorothy Kamal be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Wan Mung Lee.
May it please the court, I move that Wan Meng Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Wan Mung Lee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Olivia Barbara Locascio.
May it please this court, I move that Olivia Barbara Locascio be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Olivia Barbara Locascio be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rianne Patricia McGee.
May it please the court, I move that Rianne Patricia McGee be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Rianne Patricia McGee be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Rachel Ivy Middleton.
May it please this court, I move that Rachel Ivy Middleton be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Rachel Ivy Middleton be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Amanda Maria Modder.
May it please the court, I move that my sister, Amanda Maria Modder, be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Amanda Maria Modder be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Marie Eugenie Musser.
May it please the court, I move that Marie Eugene Nasser be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Marie Eugenie Nasser be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Gemma Megan O'Brien.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter Gemma O'Brien be admitted as a lawyer to this honourable court.
That Gemma Megan O'Brien be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Lee Q.
May it please this court, I move that Lee Q be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Lee Q be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Carla Nicole Rank.
May it please the court, I move that my daughter Carla Nicole Rank be admitted as a lawyer to this honourable court.
That Carla Nicole Rank be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jamie Michael Roberts.
May it please this court, I move that Jamie Michael Roberts be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Jamie Michael Roberts be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
David Maurice Rodwell.
May it please the court, I move that my brother David Morris Rodwell be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That David Morris Rodwell be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caitlin Ebony Scott.
May it please the court, I move that Caitlin Ebony Scott be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Caitlin Ebony Scott be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Diana Louis Shahanian.
May it please this court, I move that Diana Louise Shanahan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Diana Louise Shanahan be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Carl Jack Smith.
May it please this court, I move that Carl Jack Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Carl Jack Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Caden Leslie Smith.
May it please the court, I move that Caden Leslie Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Caden Leslie Smith be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Taran Emma Sarah Sawyer.
May it please this court, I move that Tara Emma Sarah Sawyer be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
That Taran Emma Sarah Sawyer be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Travis Andrew Stewart.
May it please this court, I move that Travis Andrew Stewart be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Travis Andrew Stewart be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jane Helen Taylor.
May it please the court, I move that Jane Helen Taylor be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jane Helen Taylor be admitted as a lawyer of the court.
Grace Isabel Taylor.
May it please the court, I move that Grace Isabel Taylor be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Grace Isabel Taylor be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Jessica Leah Townsend.
May it please this court, I move that Jessica Lee Townsend be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jessica Lee Townsend be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Yi Jing Wang.
May it please the court, I move that Ethan Wan be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Yijing Wang be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sha Yi Wei.
May it please the court, I move that Shahi Wei be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Shai Wei be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Sharif Vikramasinghe.
May it please the court, I move that Cheris Wikramasinghe be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Jareth Wikramasinghe be admitted as a lawyer of this court.
Laura Yu Zhang.
May it please the court, I move that Laura Yi Zhang be admitted as a lawyer of this honourable court.
Let Laura Yu Zhang be admitted as a lawyer of this court. Now be necessary for the purposes of an oath that all those being admitted today stand up but remain in their current places as instructed by the secretary.
Could firstly rows 1 and 2 stand? Thank you. Rowan Balani. Matthew Alexander Basoki. Issa Bashara. Leah Ann Bradley. Daphne Chang. Zi Swen Chu. Stephen George Christodoulou. Carlos Ignacio Cofre Soto. Tara Louise Corcoran. Michelle Elias. James David Eljak. Lauren Allison Espino. Kim Colleen Velhera Iatid. Christopher Pham. Martin Francis Floro. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Would you please say, "So help me God," or "I do"?
So help me God.
Thank you. Please be seated. And could the third and fourth rows please stand? Shannon May Ford. Coco Noel Garner Davis. Mark John Geddes. Emma Caitlin Wyver Glynn. Patrick Wallace Graham. Iman Jamal Adine. Dorothy Kamal. Wan Mung Lee. Olivia Barbara Lacascio. Rianne Patricia McGee. Rachel Ivy Middleton. Amanda Maria Modder. Marie Eugenie Nusser. Gemma Megan O'Brien. Lee Q. Carla Nicole Rank. Jamie Michael Roberts. David Morris Rodwell. Caitlin Ebony Scott. Diana Louis Shahanian. Carl Jack Smith. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly or honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill and ability? Please say, "So help me God," or "I do."
I do.
Thank you. Please be seated. And rows 1 and 2 on my left, please stand. Caden Leslie Smith. Taryn Emma Sarah Sawyer. Travis Andrew Stewart, Jane Helen Taylor, Grace Isabel Taylor, Jessica Leah Townsend, Yijing Wang, Shiyi Wei, Sharif Vikramasinghe, Laura Yui Zhang. Do you severally swear or declare and affirm that you will truly and honestly conduct yourselves in the practice of a lawyer of the Supreme Court of New South Wales, and that you will faithfully serve as such in the administration of the laws and usages of this state according to the best of your knowledge, skill, and ability? Please say, so help me God, or I do. Thank you. Please be seated.
Well, now that the formal part of proceedings has ended, I would like to warmly welcome you all to the Supreme Court of New South Wales, both those here in person and those observing the ceremony on the live stream. Present with me on the bench today, to my right, Justice Baston, who is the Senior Judge of Appeal of the Court of Appeal of the Supreme Court, and to my left, Justice Wright, who is a member of the Common Law Division and has previously served as President of the Civil and Administrative Tribunal of New South Wales. Together, we constitute the court that has, in the exercise of its jurisdiction, admitted you, the newly admitted lawyers, to practice today. The Gadigal people of the Eora Nation have cared for and been custodians of the land on which we meet and sit today for thousands of years, and I pay my respects to their elders past, present and emerging, and I extend those respects to all Aboriginal and Torres Strait Islander people. I also acknowledge and express my support for the Uluru Statement from the Heart, an eloquent, accurate and powerful statement which looks forward to a fuller expression of Australia's nationhood with great dignity. In the spirit of the Uluru Statement, I acknowledge the regrettable reality that this nation's laws and legal systems have often in the past delivered the opposite of justice to First Nations people. To all of the new lawyers here today, welcome to the legal profession. Today is a day for great celebration for you all. You've all worked extremely hard to get here. Countless late nights of study, no doubt, obscure problem questions, wafer-thin pages of textbook, and more cases than you can hope to remember, many of which will have been written by my colleague Justice Baston. You've entered the world of eggshell skulls, encountered the mysterious reasonable person, and have understood that the Constitution is a little more than just the vibe of the thing. The law touches every part of our society, and it can and will lead you all in many different directions and career paths, some that will not even have occurred to you as you sit here today. But in being admitted as a lawyer of this court, you have joined a profession with ancient origins. The custom of advocates swearing an admissions oath dates back to the 12th century. This court has first admitted lawyers to practice in 1824, and by 1830 the names of lawyers were entered onto the rolls in this state, just as you will do immediately after the ceremony. You have therefore become part of a tradition almost 200 years later. Now, perhaps for some of you and your family and friends, that feels like how long you've been studying, but the time is now to look forward. But you will need to continue studying as you progress in the law. On that note, having referred to your friends and family, I'm also pleased to welcome them, those with you today and those watching on the live stream. I'm sure for most, if not all of you, the support of your family and friends has been invaluable in your journey to becoming a lawyer. No doubt they've also often been on the receiving end of your finely polished but amateur skills of argument and persuasion. Those skills are now professional. I encourage you to take the time to thank your family and friends today. Depending on how good an advocate you are, you might even convince them to shout you lunch or dinner to celebrate the day. The oath or the affirmation that you've all taken this morning is a very serious one and deserves solemn regard. Whether you work in private practice, at the bar, in a community legal centre, a Crown Law office, a government department or agency, or an entirely different field, you should be not only known for your honesty, your integrity, and your commitment to justice, but you must abide by those values every day of your working lives. It is in acknowledgement of the weighty responsibility that we observe today's unique formalities, including the moving of lawyers, the swearing of oaths, and even our own ceremonial robes. You'll see from the portraits, most of the portraits around this room, that they are the same robes as have been worn by my 17 predecessors as Chief Justice and by the other judges of the Supreme Court. Now, symbolically, that is important. It highlights the continuity of the rule of law in New South Wales for, as I've said, almost 200 years. Although we mark the occasion with formality and tradition, not everything in the legal profession remains unchanging. You'll be unsurprised to know that during the last 2 years of the pandemic, we've had to adapt quite significantly. COVID-19 has meant a rapid shift to increased use of virtual courtroom setups and hearings, and an enhanced use of technology to ensure access to justice continued and the courts continued to sit in the midst of a pandemic. It would not have been appropriate to put the justice system on hold. And the court worked hard to ensure that that did not happen. Challenges, of course, presented themselves in terms of open justice, effective communication, and fairness to participants. But we got through it, and the systems survived and were enhanced. And for all the challenges we faced, the impetus is greater than ever before for us to prioritise flexibility and accessibility. Better use of technology and increased working from home arrangements have profound implications for how the legal system interacts with many people, including those in rural or remote areas who can't necessarily all get to court for hearings or hearings in which they have an interest, those with a disability, medical conditions, or carers' responsibilities, for example. As the newest members of the profession, you are at the forefront of this kind of innovation in the law and its practice, and have a unique opportunity to see through changes so that justice is done openly and equitably. Although the increased use of technology offers a number of advantages, the practice of law has human nature and human interaction at its core. An essential part of being a good lawyer is understanding people, understanding how others react to different situations, perform under pressure, and deal with each other. And as I said it as in my recent swearing-in speech, whilst the remote practice of the law may be possible, it is far from desirable. You are in a practice which is all about dealing with real people who have real problems, who need proper and informed advice. Now, there are, of course, other changes that deserve attention in addition to those brought about by the pandemic. When we think of diversity in the legal profession, we encounter something of a duality. On the one hand, we have come a long way, but on the other hand, much still needs to be done. Women were originally not even permitted to practice law in New South Wales. But since 2018, women have made up more than half of all solicitors with a practicing certificate in New South Wales, and currently make up almost 2/3 of solicitors aged under 60. And women occupy many of the most senior positions in the law, including, of course, the Chief Justice of Australia and the Commonwealth Attorney General. My predecessor as President of the Court of Appeal was Her Excellency the Honourable Margaret Beazley, now Governor of our state, and my successor in the office of President of the Court of Appeal is Justice Julie Ward, the Court's former Chief Judge in Equity. The local Court of New South Wales has almost achieved gender parity amongst magistrates, and there are many more female judges in the District Court and the Supreme Court than when I started practice 30 years ago, and there is an outstanding cohort of relatively young female silks and junior barristers coming through the ranks. But there should not only be gender diversity, but strong representation of lawyers from many different backgrounds which comprise our cosmopolitan community. Diverse representation amongst solicitors, advocates, and judges assists in ensuring that all people who become involved in our justice system, whether willingly or unwillingly, can be properly heard and fairly engaged with by a system reflective of our broader community. The admissions ceremonies such as this, on which I have sat since becoming a judge 3 years ago, highlight that there is far greater diversity of background amongst junior lawyers than when I commenced practice. And that is, I must say, a very good thing indeed. You, the newly admitted lawyers, are in a unique position as you enter the profession at a time when, more than ever, your words and actions are having an impact for good. You are being heard and taken seriously when you agitate to correct injustices, when you stand up for causes, whether you speak out about unsustainable work cultures, sexual harassment or bullying within the profession, unfair laws or systemic failings affecting our society's most valuable. It is important for lawyers to be passionate and to keep the flame of justice burning. I urge you to continue to speak up for the things you believe in, the things that matter. You are the future of the profession and will steer it in the right direction. More generally, I urge you to engage with your communities outside the law, not only because that is a good thing in and of itself, but it will be good for you. Your training as a lawyer in systematic thought, the importance of matters of principle and fundamental fairness, including due process and natural justice, equip you all very well for service beyond mere day-to-day practice, and you will, I can assure you, find that extracurricular engagement very satisfying and rewarding. As a lawyer, you will need to make, from time to time, difficult ethical decisions. Now, some say there are really only 2 lawyer jokes and all the other stories are true. But jokes aside, you must use the tools you have developed to think critically and not compromise your fundamental duties to the court and the administration of justice. You must be proud of being a lawyer, of what you have achieved to get this far, and proud of your work going forward. Now, there's a lot more to being a lawyer than just reading cases and writing advices. You become an advisor, a problem solver, sometimes a proactive mediator, and an advocate for the marginalised. And as you go about your day-to-day work, remember that you're not merely dealing with the law in a vacuum, but as I've indicated before, as it applies to people's lives. An individual in need of your services as a lawyer is in most cases an individual facing some kind of great personal challenge affecting his or her liberty, property, personal well-being, or health or financial position. For these reasons, you must always strive to deliver legal services sensitively, competent, and fearlessly, but always with courtesy and integrity. One mistake you must not make is to give your clients the advice you think they want to hear. That will not be good advice. Justice Gagler, one of our finest High Court judges, once said, "You must be prepared to give the same answer to the same question for the same reasons, no matter who asks the question or for what purpose or in what context the asking may occur." In the practice of the law, civility is very important. Aspects of the law, especially if you're involved in litigation, are confrontational by their very nature. The practice of the law can be stressful and demanding enough without personal animus and antagonism between practitioners adding to the load. It is essential that you maintain your detachment, balance, and remember that you are now part of a profession. The status conferred on you today is a privilege, not a right. For those of you who do enter into the active practice of the law, the way you communicate information to others will also have a profound effect and profound consequences for access to justice. For a non-lawyer, law is often incomprehensible and remote, and one of your roles as a lawyer will be to make the law accessible to others, sometimes by deciphering legal complexities, other times by deciphering poor legal drafting, and sometimes both, sometimes by arranging or understanding a complex set of facts and putting it into the correct legal context. One thing you will regrettably strike throughout your career is legislation which seems to be carefully crafted with the object of ensuring that no one can understand it or get through it. But your task is not just to understand, but as I say, to clearly explain it to those whose rights and interests are affected by it. A client reading your advice should be empowered to understand your meaning and not mystified and confused, just as parties reading a judgment must clearly understand the reasons why the judge has ruled as she or he has. So be clear and concise in both your writing and your speaking. The best advocates can and do make their points simply and succinctly. Often, less is more. Some of the most experienced lawyers and judges could also use that reminder from time to time. I want to speak very briefly, but significantly, about failure. There will inevitably be quite a few overachievers and perfectionists in the room today. Even so, at various points of your career, you will make mistakes, some minor, some more serious. We all do. But when you do make mistakes, your commitment to honesty, integrity, and the administration of justice means that you must take responsibility, correct what you can, and learn from those errors. You must fail at times in order to grow. What is important is that you try not to make the same mistake twice. Finally, I want to emphasize this, and that is that your mental health and well-being is extremely important. There may be, and I dare say will be, times when you feel overwhelmed, burnt out, or distressed. Legal practice can become all-consuming for reasons which are obvious and understandable. Lawyers tend to throw themselves into their work and want to do the best for their clients. But sometimes it does become overwhelming. You must strive to keep your life in balance. If you do get overwhelmed by it all, as frankly we all have from time to time, try and take a step back and recapture some perspective. Remember this, the legal profession is a collegiate profession, and in times of difficulty, the support and friends of your peers will prove invaluable. The Law Society of New South Wales and the Bar Association are fully attuned to the potential stresses of practice, and are there not only for you to participate in, but to support you as you grow as lawyers. Can I say this? The law is a wonderful profession, stimulating, challenging, and satisfying. You should be proud to be a lawyer. It is a career which can take you in many different directions, all of which are interesting and rewarding. Hold your heads high and the very best of luck on the exciting journey that lies ahead. On behalf of the judges with me on the bench, and indeed all of the judges of the Supreme Court, I once again congratulate you on your admission and welcome you to the legal profession. The court will now adjourn.